Welcome back to my channel, I guess. If you've been here before, you're probably confused. You may be asking questions like, where have you been? What is that noise? This is Vivian. It's time for her dinner, so she's very jittery right now. Let's go feed her really quick. This video will probably be a little bit all over the place because I'm trying to, excuse the mess. Wait, sit, wait. Okay. So this video is probably going to be like a little bit all over the place. But yeah, you're probably asking a lot of questions right now. Questions like, where have you been? Why did you show a bunch of cycling at the start of the video? Are you still printing? Where's your printer? Let's start with that. I have good news and bad news. The bad news is I closed my printing business. I sold my printer and I'm no longer making printing videos. But before you click away, this video is going to be about printing. I want it to be kind of like an epilogue to all of the printing videos. I am going to keep the printing videos up on the channel. I'll make a little playlist so that you can watch them all, and this will be at the end of it. And what I'm going to share is like my parting advice for printing. I think if you know these 4 things, if you have this information, then you'll be able to print anything that you want. The other good news is that I'm going to start making videos again, but we'll talk more about that at the end of the video. Right now, I just wanted to give like a little bit of closure on the printing thing and explain what happened and why everything disappeared. And then I'll give my advice, and then we'll talk about the future of the channel. So that's our agenda today. Let's tell the story of why I shut down my printing business. The short version is I was stressed out of my mind. I really have a lot of respect for small business owners, especially after trying to run a little print shop myself. I stretched myself thin and I went too far, and basically, I started developing rashes all over my body. They were not pretty rashes. Are any rashes pretty? They were bloody. And I went to a few different dermatologists, lots of different diagnoses, but the treatment was the same. Everybody told me you have to reduce your levels of stress. And the number one thing that was stressing me was trying to make ends meet with my little small business. So I closed the business, and luckily I was able to find a full-time job. I'm working as a product designer. So I closed my business, the rashes went away. I held on to my printer for a little while because I didn't want to let it go. But when you live in a little apartment in Los Angeles and space is important, having a printer the size of a small car is too much. So eventually after the holidays, I sold it. I sold it to a photographer here in LA. I think he's going to use it for wonderful things. He has some really cool art. I will put a link in the description so you can go check out his stuff. It was bittersweet. It was really sad rolling it out of the apartment. It was such a journey to like bring it into the apartment. I was really dreading like getting it out. I think that's another reason why I didn't sell it for so long, but it's gone now. It is no longer there. Like I'm looking now, it's gone. It's not here or there. And it is a little sad. I'm going to take a break from printing in general for a while. I don't know. I just, I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling the need to. And I like not having rashes all over my body. And for whatever reason, it was really stressful. Hopefully it wasn't making these YouTube videos, because I would like to keep making them again. Fingers crossed. We'll find out. In all seriousness, though, I do want to say thank you to all of you who have watched the videos, and I am so glad that they've helped a lot of people. That's been the best part. It's been really heartwarming, but it has to like read the messages of people of y'all just saying like, oh, I've learned this or that, or it's just nice to know that I helped other people out. So that's been really great. And I'm hoping I can continue to help people just in a different genre of video, which again, we'll talk about that later. But first, let's wrap up all of this printing YouTube. And I'm going to give you like my 4 pieces of advice that I think will guide you to making the best prints that you could possibly make. So with that, let's get to it. Let's talk. First up, paper. What paper should you use? I think you should use whatever paper you want as long as it's just one single paper. It's better to fully understand your tool than to have a bunch of tools. That's a weird way to say it. You could have a bunch of different papers, but if you have one paper and you know that paper super well, you can get better prints out of that single paper than if you have like 10 papers that you just bought and you're basically jumping around back and forth with all of them because you didn't spend the time to get to know them. Spend the time with your paper. Like obviously buy a sample pack, try a couple different brands, find something you like, and then stick to it and spend some time with it. Like hundreds and hundreds. Get to know like how deep can you make the blacks before they're just absolutely crushed? What does like highlight roll off look like on this paper? What about when you're looking at the midtones? Do they get muddy? Do you need to kind of lift them up a little bit in Photoshop or Lightroom or whatever you're using? Just pick one paper. Spend a lot of time with it. It doesn't have to be any specific paper like Baryta. You know, just pick something you like. So that's number 1. Number 2, what printer should you use? You should use the one that you have. No, how do I want to say this? Epson, Canon, HP, they all make fantastic printers, but make sure you use pigment inks, not aqueous inks. Aqueous inks, as the name would imply, they're water-based. They're going to fade over time, much quicker than a pigment-based ink. So if you use a pigment-based ink and a good high-quality, archival quality paper, your prints are going to last literally hundreds of years. Whereas if you just use like the cheap paper that comes as a sample with the printer and you use like a water-based inkjet print, you know, your pictures are going to start fading in a couple of years, and you don't want that. Nobody wants that. So whatever you want, as long as it's pigment based. I have used Canons. I like using Canon because they're so easy to use. They've got really good software that integrates well with the printer to manage profiles, soft proofing, all of that makes it super easy. And the like or the automatic maintenance scheduling that they have built in is amazing. Like as long as you leave the printer plugged in, you can leave it for weeks. And it's going to clean the print head and make sure it's running inks through so nothing dries out and clogs. That's amazing. That said, though, I haven't tried the latest round of Epsons. They look pretty cool. All of them make amazing prints. Just make sure you keep your print heads clean and don't let them get clogged, and use pigment inks. Yeah, that's that one. Number 3, what program should you use to edit your photos? Is Photoshop better than Lightroom? Yes. But you should use whatever program you like, whatever program you're comfortable with. Similar to the point in point 1 or question 1, whatever. Similar to that, like just become like intimately familiar with the tool that you're using. In general, like I'm not the kind of person that say gear doesn't matter and tools don't matter. They absolutely matter a lot. But I think it's much better to just have one camera that you are incredible with, you can grip the shot with it, rather than having like a whole parade of cameras and being a somewhat average photographer. This is the pot calling the kettle black. But when it comes to programs, I use Photoshop because that's the one I'm familiar with. That's the one that I've taken the time to learn and to become hyper proficient at. But if you've done that with Lightroom, then use Lightroom. Just use the tool that you know best. That's it. As for like what happens when you hit print, if you're using Canon, use Professional Print and Layout. It's a free plugin that they provide with the printer. I don't know if Epson has something similar. Consult your manual. But for editing, just Photoshop, Lightroom, GIMP, whatever you use, just become really good at it and use that. We are cruising through these. All right, last one. You may be thinking to yourself now, but Mitch, what about all the little bits? Like, what about sharpening and getting the best colors out of my prints and all the minutia? How do you get like all these little pieces? Like, how do you continue to learn about printing? Learn to ask the right questions and learn to experiment properly. Here's what I mean by that. If you're trying to learn how to sharpen, the question should not be, what are the best settings for sharpening my photo for print? That's not the right question. I understand it, like you want an answer because you're working on this like image and you just want it to look good. So like, tell me what to do. But it's like the old adage, right? Like, give a man a fish, teach a man to fish. Teach yourself to fish. Because we have the internet. So you're already doing it because you're watching these videos, so keep that up. If you want to learn how to sharpen, let's use that as a thought experiment, right? We'll watch a bunch of videos on sharpening, but not just like what are the right sharpening like tools for my prints. Ask the real question, which is how does sharpening work? And then start your research. And you're going to learn what sharpening actually does, how it works. You'll learn the details of like what each slider and each dial does in whatever program that you're using, and just dig into that and learn as much as you can. So that's the first part, like ask the right questions. And the second part is to learn how to experiment properly. What I mean by that is like use the scientific method. Isolate as everything except for a single variable. So if you're sharpening, everything else should be the same. Same picture, same paper, same ink. And then change the sharpening. So maybe you print like 5 different photos. They're all the same photo, they're all on the same paper, but you've adjusted the sharpening just a little bit differently on all of them. Print them out and then look at them. And look at them and look at them. Show them to other people. Show them to your friends, your fellow photographers, your mom, your like great aunt. I don't know. Just show it to gather the data. Ask people what they like which one do they like the most? Which one do you like the most? Just experiment. And so if you do those things, I'm rambling now, so I'm going to wrap this up. If you ask the right questions and you experiment properly by like isolating the variables and then testing and testing and testing, you can learn anything. And especially in printing, because you got all these YouTube videos, there's so much knowledge on the internet. Just dig in and you're gonna be fine, I promise. And that, my friends, is the best advice that I could possibly give you. So I hope you use it. I hope you genuinely use it. Like my biggest fear would be that you're like, okay, click off, like next one, like, and just you're looking for settings again. Don't look for settings. Like learn to learn, and you're gonna do great. So that's it. Thank you for coming along on this journey. But before we end, I do have 2 little bonus things for you all. Okay. Number 1. Many of you have asked, where did I get this hat? I got it from Paquetto. here in LA. I think they're like a chain. They got a bunch of different stores, very designy, very cool. This hat is just the tip of the iceberg of all the amazing things they have. And number two, probably the most asked question that I got from all of you is, where did I get this jacket? The jacket is from this little store, or this little shop in the UK called Painter Jacket. And they make really cool jackets. I just stared at the microphone, it's not the lens. Yeah, they make really cool jackets. They're kind of like limited edition. So this one was jacket number 90 in their first run. A photographer friend of mine, Dan Rubin, like introduced me to the brand, and I had to get one, so I got one. They do limited runs. I don't know if they're going to make this exact jacket again, but all their jackets are awesome, so you should definitely check them out. Yeah, and I guess that's the end of the printing. Kind of climactic. It's a weird word. It's a weird word and world. Yeah. Okay. So now I'm just gonna wear this helmet in every video because it's all about cycling. That would be ridiculous. No, but it is gonna be about cycling, I think. Like as I kind of like alluded to at the beginning, hopefully the YouTube videos aren't what was stressing me out. Maybe because I spent a lot of time on them, but I miss making videos and I miss storytelling, and my hobby is cycling. It takes up a lot of my time, and so I'm not going to start making videos about something else. I'm going to make cycling videos. So I got a GoPro. I'm going to bring it along on my rides. The beginning of this video was kind of like a little test. It was fun. So that's kind of the plan. And we'll see how it goes. I am not an expert cyclist. I am very much in the middle of the pack. So I'm learning along with y'all. It'll be very different from the printing channel, aside from the most obvious difference, that being that it's not printing. But anyways, if you like the videos, if you found like my storytelling style entertaining at all, I hope you stay subscribed. If you're only here for the printing, and you're like, you know what, I'm out, I get it, no hard feelings. If you're into cycling or you like my storytelling style, I hope you stick around. I'm gonna make little videos about my rides and maybe do reviews on those rides. I don't know, I'm figuring it out. I'm gonna have fun. I'm gonna try not to like stress myself out about it. I don't need to make money doing it. I just wanna make videos and tell entertaining stories. So that's the plan. I'll see y'all in the next one.